Wait, actually, it's like, it's the same title. It's like, it's the same title. It's in katakana. It's an old-fashioned cupcake. We just pronounce differently. It's like, what?
I love that.
Nice. Wow.
Hi guys, welcome to LoveCast BL podcast. I'm your host Pixie, and with me are my co-hosts Alexa and Kayla.
Hello.
Today we are joined by the Japanese media personality and Twitch streamer Shibuya Kaho. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. Yay.
Thank you.
So for those who don't know who you are, I know you do a lot. Okay, so for those who don't know who you are, you do a lot. Can you explain what you do?
Yeah, so I've been Kao Shibuya, like that's my stage name, by the way. That's since like 2014. So recently, I think people see me often on YouTube, even though like I don't have my own YouTube channel, but I kind of appear on other YouTube channels here and there.
I think we can safely call you a YouTuber, considering all the videos you appear in.
Yeah. I like producing and thinking about, like, just coming up with ideas for like each YouTuber, like each channel. So I know people see me more on CDOC VA's channel, but I've been helping. Recently, I've been helping with Emirichi too, but she hasn't posted those. Her videos are not done yet, but because she's in Japan, and she's been doing like illustration. So, but now she's in Japan, like she's trying to do more IRL content, and like I could think about so many kawaii stuff that she'd be perfect in. That would probably know. Yeah. Yes. Some of the BL stuff, I think it's be more fun with Connor because like, he's boy, that's kind of rare,
Yeah.
He's not. Yeah, he's not fujoshi. He's fudanshi, and also just seeing the BL contact or yaoi moment of Connor and some male guests. It's just, it gotta be a male guest. And then, with Emirichi, I'm doing more cute stuff, like a maid cafe or a character bento, just very cute bento box, that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I like kind of changing up stuff.
And what I really love about, like, especially following you and seeing all your cosplays and everything. When did you start cosplaying?
Oh, I think that was around 2015, 16. I started doing it just as a job. It was just part of the job sometimes. And I was like, oh, wow, I look so different. I kind of like it.
I'm always so surprised seeing, like, a cosplay of you. I'm just like, is that Kaho?
I'd have to do like a different makeup, like a different hair, but it's too much work. So just for one day, like just for a few hours, it's a nice change of pace.
Definitely.
I can imagine. Yeah. And you do go to a lot of like cons all around.
Yes, I love anime cons. Mainly United States, mainly West Coast, California. But I wanted like a travel, everywhere, hopefully.
That's so cool. So cool. So I just need to start this by asking about like the most recent, like the Yaoi Cafe video you did with Connor. I mean, that was at the same time very interesting and very cringe. But for those outside of Japan, like the themed cafes aren't that usual to see. Can you explain how the themed cafes work?
So themed cafe are called like a con cafe, like not con like anime con, but concept cafe. So like they have the concept like a China dress or maid cafe is concept cafe. So they have the concept. Sometimes they have like a ninja cafe. Mainly they have girls, but and then like, they have boys as customers. But BL is like different, like totally opposite. customers are mainly female. They're just enjoying their fantasies. And it's located in Ikebukuro. And if you know a little bit of Ikebukuro, it's kind of like Akihabara. Like they have a lot of otakus there, but mainly female. So it's like Akiba, Nordvana, but more for fujoshis. So it's like a right location.
Yeah. So for those who haven't seen the video, can you explain what happens when you go into the Yaoi Cafe?
So there are pretty boys, like beautiful boys, and they open like a foundation and they try to make you can see the effort in it too. They're not just there; they set their hair and they just put enough effort to look good.
Commit to the concept.
Yes, definitely, and it's sad. It's not too obvious, especially not in the beginning. They're just like, "Hey, welcome back," and you're supposed to be their classmate, and you just enjoy it. It's BL Academy. There is like a first grade, second grade, third grade, senpai kohai, and sometimes teacher even. And they play their roles. But the thing is, like, you always wonder there might be something going on between these two. And then they kind of give off the vibe. And even on the menu, there is like a Pocky game. A Pocky game. The Pocky is a snack in Japan, by the way. Like a long... the snack, chocolate on the other side. And then it's long enough. It's kind of like the Disney movie with like a spaghetti. With socks.
Go in.
Then how close can you go to the Pocky game? Like you can order Pocky, and then those cafe staffs, they try to show you like a skit. There's a skit, and you can ask them, can you become quite aggressive? Can you be aggressive? Or okay, so here's the setting that you guys are both in art club. And now it's just you in the classroom. And then you want to ask me out, or just, you can. You can be the director, you can be the producer of the skit. And that's how you enjoy it. It's a wonderful place, an interesting place for fujoshi.
I mean, it's like create your own BL in real life.
That's it.
Is there ever a likelihood of just like a random person on the street walking into them, or is it just like something that only fujoshis really know about?
Or people who are interested in the concept, kind of like a maid cafe. Like not all people are interested in maids, but it's just they're fascinated by the concept. Like, oh, how is it? I actually, when I went there for the first time, not for the content, but actually, people in the anime industry, they wanted to go. They were all girls. And none of them was particularly fujoshi, but they're just, they knew about the place and they kind of wanted to,
experience
it there. Yes. But it was surprisingly amusing for a lot of them. They said, it's kind of nice that you pay people to do something. And like, those are pretty boys. It's just usually, especially in Japan, we're kind of behind regarding sexism and everything. So usually the roles are reversed. We are the girls are usually the side to be consumed. So it was refreshing
in charge for once.
Yes. So it was refreshing as Japanese women, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, most of the cafes and stuff are directed towards men with the maids and everything. So having, like, something that's wholly for women is very refreshing. And especially, like, that's how BL basically started. Like, women needed a space for themselves. So... Definitely. It's an interesting concept. I don't know if it would have worked on a Western market. In otaku industry, like otaku community now, unless you have female readers or viewers, you're never gonna succeed, right? Like Kimetsu no Yaiba Demon Slayer became successful, but a lot more girls purchase the manga. They have a lot of female readers too. So unless the show becomes popular among women, they're not going to be that successful financially in Japan. But how is it that in the States or in the West? Yeah, I think women are really starting to what they experience nowadays is women are more likely to use more money than men are. so that helps with the financial. I don't know how it's in America, but that's at least Norway.
Yeah. I think like the anime community, I'm not like super involved in it, but it is still generally like very dominated by men, and there's like a lot of skepticism about like women or other people who are involved, like how committed they are to it. But I also think kind of like what Pixie was saying, like women and other people, non-binary people, like I feel like they commit more to the fandom lifestyle, so they're more likely to spend money on things like manga and collections and that kind of stuff. So that's like where it kind of contributes to the actually economy of things compared to like men, maybe, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So have you, like, how is your relationship to boys love? How much boys love have you consumed?
Yeah, so I don't know if I consume more than others, because I don't really get to talk about it that much. But the thing is, I grew up in a girls only school, so from kindergarten to high school. So like all my friends back in those days, like all my classmates were female, and then I got into manga and anime and game because I have an older brother, and you know, he got Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and I play games, and he got Shonen Jump, so like I started reading, and then I wanted to talk about, you know, my favorite stuff is my classmates too, my peers, and then initially they were just reading shoujo manga more, but eventually shonen manga became more popular, like Yu Yu Hakusho, Slam Dunk. Like Slam Dunk, I love. That's my favorite manga, and I talk about that back in, I think, when I was 5th grade, and then some other like Slam Dunk or some shonen manga too. I'm like, oh, like you love, like, oh, we both like shonen manga, great. And then, you know, I got something good for you, and that's, you know, when I got introduced to BL, right? So they gave me it's called the Anthology, like Dojin. And then there are like so many stories, like, you know, fan-made stories. Some are very heavily BL. And I was like, what is this? Like, why is this character dating or, like, you know, whatever doing with this character, even though they're not particularly dating in the main show. And then I didn't know about, that kind of community until 5th grade, 6th grade. It became so huge. That was my...
A dojin is practically like a fanfic.
So it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be always R18. Some are very heavily itchy or very lewd, but not all, or some are just cute fanfics.
I mean, that describes BL to the T. Like, some of it is, even though it's under like the same genre, some of it is very sweet, and then you have the complete lewd.
It's more with action sometimes.
Do you think like BL has evolved in Japan, like especially with like public perception of BL?
Yes. Yes, and there are like more and more original BL stories. Back then it was more like fanfics.
Right.
And it was just literally like fantasies of fans. Like in Hunter x Hunter, somehow they're imagining that, you know, going in Kira or dating or something going on, more than friendship. That kind of like just fantasy. But now there are legit, BL stories and like original stories. And then it definitely has evolved. It's just so hard to see like how or like what was the biggest contribution to the community. What do you think about that? Like what? Yeah, what was that?
For for like the normal person in Japan, do they still see like BL as something very
taboo? Or? No, really. I think some girls are embarrassed about revering the fact that they're fujoshis.
Right.
Well, it's kind of like a man kind of embarrassed about being idol fan or that kind of thing.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Have you seen any? Because we know that there's a little bit of growing presence for Thai BL, live action BL in Japan.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those were huge hits. That was surprising. Like, it became so mainstream. Like, it became so popular that it became mainstream. That was quite surprising. That was a nice surprise.
I think, like, with a lot of the expansion of BL, I feel like the pandemic definitely probably had a hand in things. A lot of people were looking to expand their media repertoire. You know, we couldn't go out and do things like fan meets or go to cafes and like interact with our fandom in those ways. So I think a lot of people were looking to explore new things. And I think that's kind of when Japanese BL has kind of started expanding into like the international sphere as well. Like, we've gotten a lot more access to live action BLs, like, instead of watching it fan subbed by one person. Like, we're getting these releases on official platforms and things like that. And so I think the pandemic and just like the growing interest in it that happened while everyone had nothing else to do but find a new interest has helped a lot.
Definitely.
Do you feel like an anime, not just BL, but anime in general, gets like very closed off in Japan? Even content coming outside from Japan to Japan, I know I've seen a lot of the times like companies pick them up in Japan and make them sort of exclusive for their platform or something. You can't watch them on YouTube. You can't, like, if you live in Japan. I don't know where I was going with that, but did you do you see that a lot? Do you like?
Like a Netflix exclusives or. Yeah, some anime actually kind of suffer from being too exclusive because no one noticed. And then it was a good show, but it hadn't been noticed.
No one could watch it.
Yeah, definitely. Some like live action shows, live action BL shows actually helped some of the streaming side because they're exclusive on that side. So that actually I heard from the insider, like, oh wow, because of this BL show, like we got a lot of new subscribers. So once again, like people actually, or maybe like more girls actually pay to like get the content they want. So, I think like we brought that.
I can imagine. Like, for me, I live in Norway, so here there's not like a lot of like anime present or BL present. There are like on a smaller scale, but it's not big enough that any companies in Norway will bring it in and just like take the exclusivity of it. So we sort of like catch thing on YouTube or streaming platforms like Viki or stuff like that, because no one in Norway cares enough yet.
One day.
So
one day you will drive community pixie.
I will convert the whole of Norway into BL fanatics.
What's the most popular show BL wise? It doesn't have to be like completely BL, but they became popular because of the BL community.
Right.
Even like some shows like Naruto became so popular among girls because of the BL community.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching Naruto. It was like the first anime I ever watched when I was a kid. I grew up with it, and my boyfriend also grew up with it, but we had two complete different experiences watching it.
When I think of shows that became popular because of like shipping, like from like same-sex shipping, whether or not it was like BL fans or not. The first thing that comes to mind, at least from like my American perspective, is Supernatural. There are so many, whether it's, I mean, there was the people that shipped Dean and Castiel, and then there was also the people that shipped the two brothers, which was like a whole other thing. But that's like one of the biggest, I think, examples from the Western fandom of like male shipping in a show that was obviously not a BL, but like that show went on for 15 seasons, and I think it's solely because of that fandom and driven by the fandom. So that was like the first example that came to mind for me.
Yeah, I mean, even in Supernatural, they dedicated like a whole episode for the main cast to like sort of come up on like a school having like a stage play of Supernatural.
Of the show,
with the shipping. It was
so they were aware of the fandom and they played into it a lot, which I think helped the show go on for so long.
I see. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna just checking the pictures and everything on my phone right now. Yes.
Like has so many fanfics. I think for a long time on like some of the fanfic sites like Archive of Our Own, it was like one of the most written about like shows out there in terms of like ship fanfics and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a big one.
I think the one I was most involved in growing up was Harry Potter.
Yeah. There's a lot of different types of shipping in Harry Potter.
That happened in Japan too. Especially the teachers, I guess, between teachers.
Yes. I've seen that too.
Oh, interesting. So that wasn't just in Japan. It wasn't just our dirty minds.
No, not just in Japan.
Women will find a way.
I see. Yeah, even when I was a kid, already there are some like BL shows. Like Loveless was probably the first anime that was like obviously BL. Right? There are already some novels that was popular, and they got like, great illustrations on the cover.
Right.
Some manga too. It became anime. Oh, what was the title? The main BA is Tomokazu Seki. Oh God, no. Oh, damn. I don't know.
It's going to come to you later.
Yes. But in the manga, it wasn't very about relationship. There was some romance in it, but I think it was about like a life, and it was like deeper than that.
It's subtle.
It was very wholesome. When I started reading Cardcaptor Sakura, I fell in love with the art initially, and like, oh my god, look at this dress, and oh, frilly and pinky, and this character is so lovely. And I started with manga first, and then anime, and of course, the anime had to tone down a lot. But I was so surprised by the fact that they dealt with a lot of taboos or like, romance between not just same sex, but also student and sensei, student teacher, or like big age difference. There are so many. But it wasn't lewd. It was never too sexually risky. Like they never went there. And it's just, everything felt so pure. And nobody said anything like, because you're my student and I'm a teacher, like this is not okay, this is wrong. Like everything was okay.
Everything.
It was like, Then it wasn't disgusting at all. Like it's just so naturally pure and cute and everything. That was so surprising that they could do that.
I think that's like one of the things that kind of draws people like to BL is like this idea of existing in a world where being gay isn't seen as like some taboo thing. Like it's just kind of, oh, you like this guy all of a sudden, like, you know, it just kind of happens and no one ever questions it. And I think that's like one of the things that's drawn a lot of people, because I think a lot of media, LGBTQ media and other places can focus on a lot of the dark and heavy and like the taboo aspects of it. So BL like being in this fantasy world where no one questions it and it just kind of happens and it's just a pure romance is like really appealing to people.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But even, in some BL in Japan, at least, like there are some like BL books or mangas that where characters act like, oh no, like, it shouldn't be, or it's weird because I'm man and you're a man. Because I think it's just cultural. But, it happened a lot still. And I think, I guess like some enjoy the taboo, just, kind of, like, because it's not supposed to be, and you get more passionate, or you get, the fire becomes bigger because it's not supposed to be.
Right.
But I do find it sometimes a little bit sad when even some of the wordings, in Japanese BL, some authors choose the word normal to describe the fact that they're heterosexual.
Right.
I know it's just a word, but it's just a word choice. It just hits me.
I noticed like there's a lot of discussion also like on the international market about the terms like using words like wife and husband, and stuff like that to describe a homosexual relationship. Is like steeped in this like heteronormative homophobic way of thinking. Just trying to make homosexual relationships sound normal, quotes, and it like it is normal, so it shouldn't have to be put into the box of like a straight relationship. So, but it's good that there's a lot of discussions around it now. There's a lot more talk and more visibility to the problems. Right. And I think even like in the Japanese market, like you see in a lot more BL mangas and animes and stuff now that they are thinking more about stuff like that and trying to improve and trying to be more inclusive and representative. So
yes, I like to see the change. Yeah, definitely. Yes, I know like some people are like fed up. It's like, forget about all the political correctness, but it's just it's personal to some people.
I mean, so calling something like using the excuse of political correctness. I feel like it's like a cop out for people to just like push things to the side because it's not about like being woke. It's about treating people with respect.
Yes.
So I find it.
I don't.
I was gonna say Japanese live action, especially shows. I find it really interesting because what we see on the international market is either you have like the super hardcore shows like deep into like drugs and alcohol and sex and everything, or you have the super fluffy ones that barely kiss. There's a no in between.
Like I really want to like focus on, sometimes when I'm reading BL, and I really want to focus on the story, but sometimes I hate it when I get bothered by some of the word choices. And I know, like, for those who don't mind, I know it's just a word for them. It's kind of like whether you get bothered by the word gaijin, like even though for some people it's just a shortened word. Like it's just, instead of saying gaikokujin, it's too long. I'm just saying it's gaijin. Like it's not derogatory for them, but it's just, it's not just about how they feel about the words.
For those who don't know, gaijin is the word for foreigner in Japan. You're basically like foreign person. So some foreigners take offense because it can be you sort of put foreigners in a box and say that like all foreigners are like this. You need to go into this box, and it can
stereotypes type thing.
Definitely. And even the word wife, yome in Japanese, the kanji itself shows female and house. So it's like,
wow,
women in house. It's very, the kanji itself is very derogatory. But it's just, I think back in those days, it was just a role, I think. Like, it didn't mean to be discriminatory. So I get that why it became such a kanji, but it kind of bothered me, like, whenever I look at the kanji. It's nothing. You can all.
In this day and age, they change things in language all the time. Can't they just change
it? I'm hoping that they would change. I said it cannot be changed, but maybe they can.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, for some people, it's fine to be like the wife and take care of the household and everything. Yeah. But for like me, I could never. Like, my boyfriend is the one who takes care of the kids and stuff. I work. And that's how we like enjoy like doing things. Like, we do what is best for both of us and what we enjoy the most. So it's so like putting box on things is
Yes. Hopefully they would change. Like how the stewardess became like a cabin attendant, or like, just some word choices. I think is going to be necessary eventually. Because I don't consider myself like a particular person, but even I get bothered sometimes, and I hope the BL, whenever they talk about heterosexual people and being heterosexual, or whenever they talk about sexual orientation, I hope they don't use the word normal in manga.
Agree.
They just say, most of the time they say nonke, like, and I think that would be better. And I hope, they're going to be more, I just want people to feel more comfortable.
And that's exactly
it. I want to be comfortable too.
The little things that can make a big difference in making people feel more included or feel more respected. And like, it might not have any impact on you directly, but using that term could have, like, a better term could have a big impact for someone else. And I think that's important.
On that line, is there any, in Japan, the whole, is there like a big drive for like non-binary terms and stuff? I know there's a lot of discord in Norway about non-binary terms.
Actually, because in Japanese, we can avoid pronouns all the time. Like, you don't really have to say my pronoun is this or that, because most of the time you can just avoid saying that. Yes, nowadays, people have learned like there are like different terms or different categories for even like sexual orientation. It's not just heterosexual, homosexual, or bisexual, and there are so many. And I don't think most of them are familiar with it unless they are very close to LGBTQ culture. Actually,
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it's here as well. But I do see like there's a lot of aggression towards non-binary terms in the Norwegian language because they don't understand it. So they get angry about it. And I keep, like, I've had discussions with family members about this. And I'm just like, why are you getting angry? Like, it doesn't affect you. So why don't you just, like, respect what they want?
Maybe they're like, we didn't need this back in those days. Like, why do you want it? Like, why are you needing it? It feels like one of those things, like, we have more choices now, we have more devices now, and like, why don't we have more words?
I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like these communities have always existed. Like, even back in my grandparents' day or your like, there was non-binary people and like that community was out there. They just didn't have terms to identify themselves with or feel safe to. And like now that's changing. So it's only the norm for the general culture to also change along with it. But so many people are resistant to it because it's not what they know, and you know they don't like that.
How about you, Kayla? How have you like experienced people when you tell them about the non-binary pronouns that you prefer to use?
I don't experience it because
you don't tell anyone.
There's no point, like, in my life, like, there just wouldn't be a thing that is, like, understood or even that they've even heard of. So it's pretty much just, like, going through the world as a woman. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think that, like, my friends in real life have called me by non-binary terms. It's just like really, I don't know. It's not something that I guess, what's the word? It's not something that I enact in my everyday life just because it's not convenient for me and because it's just like not something that is widespread, that people have widespread knowledge of.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you like to get people to use it, you pretty much have to pick a fight every time.
Come out over and over.
Conflict
and over
every
again.
time.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah.
So Heather was wondering, what are some words in BL that we'd like to see change besides like the wife-husband thing? Can I ask you, Kao, do you know, like, there's a whole discussion on the international scene about the terms seme and uke.
Okay.
Is because what I've understood, it's terms describing the aggressor and the non-aggressor, and it's not like literally means bottom or top.
But I think it's more about also. Yes, definitely. Like more about the attitude, but also about who is going to be the convex and concave kind of thing.
So it kind of has both.
I think it's better than like in gay community. It used to be because uke and seme is more like a manga or BL.
Yeah,
words.
right. It's fictional words.
Yes, but gay community they used to say or to explaining the situation to the public. They always have to say like a male or female role.
Right.
So like, I think it's much better than that. No.
Yeah, definitely.
Specific terms.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of talk about how it's not okay to use the terms top and bottom unless you're in a gay relationship and you are the person talking to your partner. So it's but I've heard that like the gay community in Japan have different words for top and bottom than seme and uke. And,
oh yes.
Yeah.
Tachi and neko.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's really interesting. But I do wonder how since seme and uke are primarily like a fictional terms, how that sort of differs from terms like top and bottom. Does it have the same impact or
kind of? Yeah, it's just like the difference of the terms. And tachi, usually in Japanese itself, it means like standing,
right?
Or like or erection can be you know, also standing. So and neko means cat.
Yeah,
yes.
I was gonna say
neko, like a male, like more like a kawaii kind of like cuter type. I think.
Yeah.
So usually you expect the cuter or like more, I don't know,
the feminine,
shorter or like a feminine.
Yeah.
You expect them. Like sometimes it's not always the case, but
right.
You kind of imagine.
Yeah.
Then of course, like some people can be both. So.
Right. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like terms that exist in BL that I don't. I mean, there are some, like obviously the ones that we covered, but I feel like beyond that, it's just kind of like certain stereotypes that bother me more than particular words. Like the stereotypes, excuse me, that are associated with like the bottom being the more feminine person and the top being like the more macho person. Like I think I'm bothered more by the stereotypes associated with the words than the words themselves more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. Do you know, like, do you experience a lot of like the BL writers coming out as queer? In the recent terms, like we've heard stories that like the original BL authors that have like felt more comfortable coming out as queer people?
I think in Japan, most of the BL writers are female, but I've actually met like very like legit hentai artist who is male, and I think he's in 40s or 50s, but he also draws BL sometimes because he likes it and not because of sexual orientation or anything. Because he think, hey, like I want to write this because like I just feel encouraged to write this.
Right.
It's just a creative decision.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, no, it's interesting how BL is evolving to sort of draw in more of the queer community as a whole, female, male, non-binary as a whole. And
some of the recent BL definitely have talked about some non-binary people sometimes, and I was very pleasantly surprised. Like, oh wow, so they are actually involved. Because it used to be more about just girls' fantasies.
Right.
But now it's like, hey, they actually try to understand, or they are understanding the culture.
Yeah,
that's
A
impressive.
nice improvement to see.
What do you, like, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but what are your thoughts about explicit content in BL? I know there's a little bit of a discourse on if women should be allowed to view content of male-male relationships when it's very heavily sexual, that it's like a fetish thing.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I have read so many types of BL. Sometimes it's just, pure, but not, most of the time, not really. And I gotta admit, sometimes I just look for that lewd stuff because I felt like it. And I lean toward BL because those are heavier, like way heavier than some of the content for female. Like, they're called like a teens comics. Teens, like, they're supposed to be for teens. It's like male and female. But it's just a little bit ecchi, but not too ecchi to the point of hentai, because hentai is for men, men most of the time. The consumers are male in hentai world, so sometimes it's just too much, or a lot of women feel kind of disgusted sometimes. So that's why we have teens comic. That's just female and male relationship, but it's more romantic. So sometimes like very like sugary romantic, but it's more fantasy, like handsome guy, beautiful women, and ecchi. BL is definitely heavier. Like sometimes it becomes more sexual. Like the scenes can be very like a lot compared to teens comic. I have chosen BL over teens comic sometimes just because like, oh, this is like, juicier. But the difference, let's say, between hentai and BL for me is there's always like lab or emotions. Like they always cover emotions of the characters in BL, and I feel more comfortable with that kind of content. Because hentai can be sometimes too much. It's like too much of fantasy, like harem, and like they don't love those women, or it's just too obvious that they don't care. It's just like I don't even
transactional product. Women are just like a product for them to have sex with, kind of thing.
Like I find myself not being able to enjoy that, even though the nice art is nice. It's just this is artistically cool, but no.
I grew up with hentai. I found it when I was like 16. Before I knew about like BL, and one of my reactions to hentai, like at that age, yes, it's exciting to watch like or look at lewd content, but at the same time, I found that like the women are always very nice looking. They're always drawn very nicely and very individually. There's a lot of attention to detail in the women, but then you either have like a very, very ugly man, like ugly bastard style man, or it's like, just like
do they even base kind of man?
You're right. Or it's like boy or man that just doesn't have any like features. It's just like plain, like
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, like, when it comes to hentai, the point is for the viewer to be able to self-insert. So they can imagine that they're the ones, like, the woman is so beautiful and descriptive, but then, like, the man is just, like, nothing, so that then the viewer can self-insert. Or a lot of the times it's, like, a POV perspective, so that, like, they can imagine they're the one, like, you know, which, yeah.
Yeah, I always found it a little bit unfair. Not a little bit, just most of the time. Like, wow, seriously? How can I enjoy this content? Sometimes. Some hentai are really good, but just like not everything with me. So I definitely prefer BL for that, good amount of emotions and then some actions.
The best of both worlds.
Yes.
Yeah, I do know that there's have been a rise in hentais that are more for women, that they've designed them to be more exclusively women hentai.
Definitely.
And that's interesting.
Yeah, some authors are female too in hentai. And most of the time they do BL too, and I just stopped to see, oh wow, look, this is a BL mangaka who's drawing hentai, so like I kind of want to enjoy both. Right.
I think in general... Sorry. I
just like something popped in my head. I'm just like, do you like the authors of girls' love manga? Are they primarily men or women?
I think a lot of people are men, yes, but they don't necessarily reveal that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, like their touch of art feels very like a shoujo manga, so it's kind of surprising. Sometimes you see, even like shonen manga, sometimes you can tell, oh, this artist must be female just by the way they draw.
Right.
I don't know if there is like a male and female tendency in drawing something.
I would say I would categorize it as feminine and a masculine gaze, like the feminine gaze and the masculine, because I think like it's a little bit out of fashion to call it female and male, considering we're non-binary and everything. People are different right now, and even like just women are different. So like having calling it the feminine gaze is I think is more accurate.
I see. True.
And I think for the feminine gaze, it's more about the emotions and the tension and the artwork and the lead up to the lewd acts as well as the lewd acts. But with the male or the masculine, it's more just like get to the action, like no one needs foreplay.
Yeah, that's why it's like interesting to imagine or think that a lot of Yuri writers might be men or men identifying because they don't have a lot of those typical characteristics that come with like the masculine gaze. Like they do focus on the emotions and the build up, and I think they take a lot of the same things that we see in BL and apply them to like a relationship between two women. So it's kind of like not what you would expect from like a male identifying author, particularly based on the like what we know traditionally, you know.
Is there like in Japan a difference between the popularity of boys' love and girls' love?
Definitely there is. Yeah. Well, the community is like so different, almost like divided. One is not interested in the other most of the time, somehow. It's so hard to find people who are interested in both.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I was, again, pleasantly surprised that when Licorice Recoil, one of the new animes from this year, kind of dealt with both, in a way. I mean, the main focus was Yuri. Like, they were never being too obvious, but it's like... But yeah, it was kind of in an obvious way. And then we found out some of the characters who were more grown up. They were, man and man. they never actually stated anything. They never actually said, like, admitted anything with words. Wow, like, it was so obvious, and they dealt with that. Yeah. And I saw some comments about, like, some reviews about those reveals. Some probably some, like, masculine viewers, like, didn't like, oh, do we need that? Because, like, I thought it was, like, I came here to watch a Yuri show, and then, like, I'll be getting some gay stuff, and some comments were not welcoming that much.
Yeah,
but, again, like, it was, I think, one of the most popular show in this year. And probably going to be nominated for some Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Actually, I'm one of the judges, but I'm definitely guessing that it's gonna be nominated for, in some category, like, more than a few categories. And I'm glad, like, such a big show like, cover that part too. Not just cater towards just the Yuri staff that people expected, because two girl characters as main characters. Yeah, but no, like, they try to cover everything. So I love that.
Yeah. I know. Like, a lot of the shows that we watched from countries like Thailand and stuff, where they've included, like, girls, girl couples, have, like, been nice to watch. It's nice to have that variety in it, and it's nice to see the representation, and it's like, especially when we watch it, like, we all, like, start cheering or, like, talk a lot about it, especially Alexa.
You know.
So, but there is a rise of, like, girls love live action right now. Especially, like, we've gotten a show in Thailand that's airing right now called Gap, the series. Where the main leads are 2 women. And it's very similar to Boys Love. It's the same tropes, it's the same, like, setting, kind of. And it's been a nice change of pace to actually see that representation.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's just refreshing to see a lot of the things that make BL appealing and that you enjoy about BL, but with 2 women, especially as, like, someone who identifies as bisexual. So, like, being able to see, like, all these things that I love watching about BL, but, like, with people that, like, identify, like, I can identify with, is, like, just, like, refreshing to see, and is, like, exciting to see, I think.
I love to see shows that cannot be categorized too easily. Even though, like, when you categorize things, when you hashtag things, it's easy to find those content when you're looking for particular things. And, like, a BL and Yuri, they grew because they kind of categorize themselves with, like, specific words. But I love the subtle, things that are happening in anime, manga too. Because I think the easiest way for any content is to make it obvious, like thumbnails, for example, on YouTube. You have to fish people from thumbnails. They gotta be clickbaity, gotta be, scandalous. Even though, like, they don't do much in the content, but sometimes, it's like, I understand, like, why they do that. I understand the marketing, but you feel a little bit turned off by it here and there. Like, do you have to be that obvious, or do you have to be that stereotypical?
I know there's some shows that have gotten a lot of backlash because they've very heavily directed all their marketing and basically the entire plot on just boys having sex. And it feels like they're trying, like, to do, like, a fujo bait. They're just trying to bait people in for the views rather than actually making a story that count. And they sort of demote women to a box where we're only interested in seeing boys have sex. Like, they think that's our only interest. That the plot doesn't matter, that the tension and just aesthetics of the show or anything of that doesn't matter to us, which is so wrong. But yeah.
Talking about Thai BL. They just recently announced that one of the bigger television production companies that is known for producing a lot of the live action Thai BL series is doing a remake of Cherry Magic next year. And I think it got, in general, a lot of people were excited for it, but I think Cherry Magic, I would say it's probably the most popular live action Japanese BL for international fans.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people were like skeptical because a lot of people have a connection to the original series and the manga and like the feelings that it evokes and like the certain aura that the relationship has. And I think it's typically not like a feeling of show that Thai BL taps into that often. So there was a lot of skepticism about it. But on the same time, I know seeing a lot of reactions from the Japanese side, they're very excited about it.
Cool.
And I think the couple that is going to be starring in the show is very popular amongst Japanese BL fans. And I know the original mangaka gave their support for the series as well. So it's been an interesting mix of reactions to the fact that it's happening. But I think the fact that it's happening at all is like a really cool thing to talk about. Yeah.
Have you watched Cherry Magic or read the manga?
No, I definitely have to. I think I heard about it, but I am, of course, used to like how Japanese fujoshi or how BL culture has been in Japan, but I haven't known that much about what BL has been in outside of Japan. So today has been very intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me with Cherry Magic is that it's a story set in like a Japanese office landscape, and the work culture in Japan is very different from Thailand. At the same time, I think like the main characters, especially Adachi, who's the
I just googled and I know like what you guys have been talking about. Oh, it's a different title in Japan. So
I
didn't know that. Okay, that's why. Okay, it's Cherry Maho. Okay, that's actually the one like I was talking about earlier about they got a lot of subscribers on that Amazon. I think it was only available on the Tsutaya something. The platform was so small, like a streaming platform. Because we got Netflix and like so many like Amazon Prime, and they were neither. So like, they didn't have a lot of subscribers, but they could get so many new subscribers because of the show, because it was exclusive on that site. Okay.
Yeah, I remember Cherry Magic when it came out. It was just available on Crunchyroll for international.
Yeah, that's where we accessed it on Crunchyroll. I think it's available more places now, but
it was the first like official Japanese live action that we actually got access to without doing it illegally.
And it started out as like people were just for international fans fan subbing it, but then I think they picked up on how many people were watching it and how popular it was, and like halfway through the series airing, Crunchyroll picked it up for us, and we were able to watch the rest of the series.
Wow, I didn't know the show was popular outside of Japan too.
It's huge.
Wow, like I was reading manga, and when I noticed like they were getting like live action adaptation, I thought, is it gonna work? But already there is successful live action show about BL. It was called like All Sons Love. I don't know what the English title is, but but it became huge. But it was original story. It wasn't based on manga or anime. But it was successful, so probably they decided to make similar show, but maybe based on popular manga. I was so surprised, like wow, like even this became a success.
It's like this is what I'm talking about, like the bubble that like Japan is in its own bubble when it comes to like
fandom
content media, and you don't like hear a lot of fandom talk outside of Japan. So you kind of have like the international bubble and then the Japanese bubble.
Yeah.
So we don't hear anything from the Japanese fans, and the Japanese fans hear nothing from us.
Yeah, it's like, what did I know about it? Yeah, I didn't know you could watch it on Crunchyroll even. Yeah.
So, what my point earlier, the character of Adachi is very, I think, like the submissiveness of his personality is very Japanese.
Yeah.
It's very connected,
very timid and soft-spoken and
very introvert.
Yes.
So I mean, he got his own reasons too, but yeah.
But I wonder how they're gonna translate that into Thai society, because
right, that is interesting.
Are a little different. So that's where my skepticism comes into it. But I'm still excited to watch it, and I'll of course watch it. But I do have some doubts.
You gotta admit. Yeah, the hopefully it's not gonna be like Dragon Ball Revolution, right? When they try to westernize too much.
I mean, they haven't even like released a trailer for the Thai show yet, because there's some complications.
Licensing
complications. But that's so typical when you're like have someone outside of Japan working with a company in Japan. Licensing is always interesting.
That's true. If it becomes successful, then
it might open the door to more like that.
It's like that's power. Sentai series and Power Ranger, it can be successful on its own, and eventually they try to work together again.
It's going to be exciting. I mean, it isn't that long since Cherry Magic actually aired.
Yeah.
And a lot of things have happened since then, and we're getting more and more like Japanese live action in on the international market.
Wow.
So it's gonna be interesting. Like right now, in the last week, there were like 2-3 shows, Japanese BLs, live action that stopped airing on Viki. So there's a lot of lot more access now than there were. So you're seeing like the bridge sort of being formed between countries or Japan and the world.
I think the network is MBS in Japan that's been doing this campaign where they have like this specific slot that's geared towards BL, like ABL, and after one airs, there's like another BL that airs in that specific slot, and like all of those shows have been surprisingly released internationally. So I think we've seen more influx of Japanese live action BL this year that we as international fans can access compared to like ever before, because platforms like Viki, which I think is rooted back to a Japanese company, which might be part of it. And there's some other networks too that have picked them up. But yeah, it's definitely been an influx of official releases for Japanese BLs in international fandom, which has been really cool to see.
Nice.
It's
nice to have like more and more. Yeah.
Have you watched like I can't read kanji, so I don't know what's it called in Japanese, but old fashioned cupcake.
Old fashioned.
It's the English version.
Old fashioned cupcake. Sometimes the titles can be so different. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's from. Wait, how many? Okay, that's from this year. Old fashioned.
Yeah. It's been really popular, and it's so good. Like, if you haven't watched it, you should. It is so good.
I had to. Old fashion. Wait, actually, it's the same title. It's the same title. It's in katakana. It's an old fashioned cupcake. We just pronounce differently. I was like, what?
I love that.
Nice. Wow, they're so incredibly cute.
Yeah.
Wow,
and it's like a BL with like for once very like grown characters, and it's very cute at the same time. There's a lot of good like tension, and it's short, but it's really good.
I like the visual so much, like all the cupcakes and the lightings and I've seen a lot of live action BLs or about gay relationships in Japan a lot, mainly because of the successful Sons Lab. What's the Sons Lab's title in English, by the way? It's like Old Man's Lab, or what's the title in English?
Question.
Yeah, do they have an English title? Or
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah. Yeah, but it became so successful. Like we are seeing more same-sex relationship in movies.
Yeah.
15 Japanese BL this year.
This year that international fans have been able to access. So it's pretty crazy. And I mean, the Japanese BLs, live action BLs, are really popular as well.
Nice.
So it's at least showing like a trend that I hope continue.
That's good. I hope it's not. I like the fact that Sons Lab and also Cherry Magic have been very lighthearted and cute, not like heavy stuff. Of course, sometimes it's important to have to go deeper and have the serious topics, but I don't like it when they bring LGBTQ and non-binary just for the sensational effect.
Right. Yeah. Clickbait. Basically. Yeah.
In some anime, so when I watch Japan Sinks on Netflix, it's like Nippon Jinbotsu 2022. The show was interesting in a lot of ways. Just like I had doubts in a lot of ways because the story was kind of too weird in a lot of ways. But
I heard
the thing is, in the final episode, they just drop kind of like a bomb, or they just reveal that one of the main characters, who was very cool actually and strong, was born as a woman, and then it's like kind of just drop it. Well, to be probably the shocking effect. Yeah. And I also like they had a line initially said like, I hope she's doing okay, or like, they used the pronoun she, and I think they got a backlash from that and changed it to he. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're trying to be sensational, but they didn't know about.
That's
they were not sensitive enough.
Create talk around the show without actually respecting what it actually means to be trans. That's So when it happened, like, I was like, this show hasn't been good, but now it's worse. And like, like, I think even in the title, it's like 2022. So I thought it's going to be new. It was weird during the show. They had some like very racist people, like,
oh my gosh.
Like, some people, it was about Japan Sink, so it's about like a national disaster. But somehow they got people like who only try to help Japanese. Like, wow, in what age we live in? Like, it's supposed to be 2022, but like, what? And then we got some like weird religious group in the show, which had nothing to do with national disaster. But it's just like, there's a cult, And, they joined the cult because they have to be helped by the cult because there's national disaster. So I was like, well, it just doesn't really feel like 2022. And then finally, on the final episode, there is something new because of that. The wrong pronoun
all around.
Very weird writing.
Yes. I was a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I've heard about it. I've heard people talk about it, but I haven't watched it myself. It's kind of one of those times where you like hear people talk about how much of a train wreck something is, and you're just like, well, I'm kind of curious, but at the same time, I
just watch from afar.
Don't want to be a part of
it. It's kind of it can be funny because it's about a big earthquake, so it's not funny what happens. But there is a doctor, the scientist who studies earthquake, and somehow he's found it when he's on the bed in a hospital. But then, so he's studying earthquake. But he says like, oh, earthquake is coming. Like psychic. Like,
yeah.
Wait a second, I thought you were studying earthquake, but you can just feel earthquake? Like, who are you? Yeah, it's so funny in a lot of ways.
Oh my god.
It's worth checking as a bad anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine like the people who think like Japan has a very like weird culture, kind of get some kick out of it being weird. But yeah. No, like in Norway, it just came out. I just have to mention it. There's a new movie called Troll. And it's basically about like they are doing some digging in a mountain and they awaken a troll, a huge like mountain stone troll, and it starts like rampaging across Norway, kind of like Godzilla.
Wow.
And it's so serious and it's all like really like catastrophe.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the stuff we have.
I thought of when I saw that.
It's on Netflix. Oh my god. Yeah.
So title is Troll. Okay.
Yeah, title is Troll. You just need to watch the trailer. It is pretty hilarious. It is in Norwegian, but there are subtitles to it, but it's hilarious. It's supposed to be very dramatic and very scary and all of that, but at the same time, it's a troll.
Nice.
Okay, so we've been keeping you up for enough. The time went by really quickly. It's been so much fun talking to you. I've been so excited.
Likewise.
For this. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for inviting me.
So that's it for our episode this week. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us, Kaho. We've really loved talking with you and hope to have you on again soon. We'll leave all the links to Kaho's socials and Twitch channel in the description below. So everyone make sure to check her out and show her some love. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow us on most socials at LoveCast Podcast. And while you're at it, why not share this episode with your friends? It really helps us out. Thanks for joining us this week, and we hope to see you again soon. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Focus.
Okay. All right. Let's go.